Hello. Hello, everybody. See how long it takes before people get really fed up with the Our Dune gif. We have returned for more of Dune. Now, previously on the saga of House Dargush and their rise to prominence, their probable rise to prominence. Last week, in an attempt to find out who tried to off the Baron, we went out to an accursed siege in the desert east of Arrakeen, only to find that it had been significantly remodeled using a lot of Harkonnen technology, but was being used to house some kind of secret Von Meer Bene Tlilax research base, which may have had one or two minor similarities with the Fallout vaults. No connection to me being a bit obsessed with it at the minute. Inside, they found several more copies of the Countess, including the real one, we think, but 'twas dead and had no face. So we're not 100% sure, but we are in the high 90s% sure. Didn't prompt a great radio conversation between, does your wife have any distinguishing marks? You know what she looks like? Yeah, but if we weren't sure it was her, are there any other distinguishing marks?
Other than her face.
Yeah, but what if that wasn't there? And then we found a whole floor full of the Countess, only they were poorly made feral versions of the Countess. And we had to blow the entire place. So we overcharged the nuclear reactor, collapsed the mountain in on itself, walked away from it while putting on sunglasses because cool guys don't look at explosions. Or possibly ornithoptered the hell away from there at speed
Yeah,
because
probably.
cool guys don't like getting caught in nuclear explosions in the middle of the desert.
Mm. And now we should probably explain why we nuked a mountain in the middle of the desert.
Well, you see, it's because there was a wedding proposal inside. Just the worst proposal ever. Yeah, it was an intriguing way to say "marry me, Dela," but
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, feel like Dela is gonna stick with being a widower for a bit. His type is
you're a baron.
definitely
You could
not.
always get a porcupine.
Yeah. Okay.
Hmm. Concubine. They're different.
Yeah. One of them's very stabby. The other one, it turns
This
out,
is
could
June.
potentially also be very stabby.
I was expecting you to go, one is very stabby and one is a porcupine.
And one is fairly well behaved if you feed it all the time. It's the porcupine.
What we do know
Everyone else stabs Taylor.
is that any survivors from the research base had retreated to their pickup location in Carthage, up in the mountains in the north, close to the pole, where it's colder. There's more ready supply of water, and the whole place has been heavily fortified with shit tons of plasticrete by the Harkonnen forces. Needless to say, Carthage is under very heavy siege, and nobody has managed to escape from it because there's been this whole pesky Fremen revolution thing that's kicked off. And there's a new emperor. So as our ornithopter returns back to Arakeen, landing a little later than the one carrying the Countess's body. She's now laid out in state, albeit a closed casket one. Reverend Mother and her spy master are both sat by her side in their grief. Her house guards grim-faced, standing guard, those of them that are left. Tarek, Foom, and Kaelin return to the barn, and the Baron. Over to you. Speaking of the Baron.
I don't know. I think the Baron is probably with his wife.
No, you don't get to do mourning. You're important.
I get to feign mourning briefly and then do it afterwards. But
I believe the tradition dictates at this stage that there is scowling and demands for vengeance.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely going to be plenty of that. I mean, like I said, if we can come by the Harkonnen nukes, we're just going to glass the place. Whatever happened to Carthag?
It doesn't really get mentioned a lot later, does it?
So there you go. We've got some leeway. And after looking suitably solemn and scowly, I'll return to Tarek and Kaelin.
So what's our next move, Baron?
Well,
Indeed.
With the information we have available that we have collected, to start with, I have sent word to the Emperor. We'll see what comes of that. But I think it is definitely time we had another chat with the Guild, as we've dangled an offer in front of them before, and we could well use their satellites now.
Agreed.
Do the satellites have recordings? They do, don't they, of like what has been happening? If we could get our hands on a recording of where everyone left the thingy to exactly, we could probably pinpoint a building.
A lot of the recordings don't exist for that time period because Paul himself bribed the guild to shut them down.
The bastard.
Well, I mean, he probably didn't think that sort of thing was going on. Like, I imagine he probably did think that sort of thing was going on, but he had other priorities.
He didn't care.
Wasn't a top issue for him.
No. I doubt if he even vaguely remembers who House Dargush are. But we need to pinpoint them and perform at the very least a surgical strike on their building. I still want the people responsible, because this whole thing still hasn't revealed itself to us. There's more here. I mean, everything we uncover seems to bring up more questions. And right now, in the short term, we definitely need to take control of House Ritchie's.
To that end, I assume our off-world, she kind of looks around, assets, referring to your child, are safe.
Great. Well, I should damn well hope so. But yeah, a 9-year-old doesn't necessarily make the greatest leader of a house. So it would be convenient if that 9-year-old had someone to look after and assist them.
A regent, so to speak.
Yeah, conveniently, their father is a baron.
And therefore familiar with the operating of a house.
Yeah, precisely. The only problem we might encounter in that regard is the brother. Though he should be ill in favor with the current imperial regime, as obviously he was waltzing about with the emperor at the time.
Yeah, the downside that you have, though, is that as a close relative, he has access to pretty much everything the Countess has access to. While he might not be next in line, he could probably still open the bank accounts and the treasuries and the storehouses and make good use of whatever he gets his grubby little mitts on.
In that regard, we may have to move quickly to secure Rachisa's assets, at least their liquid assets. We won't have time to offload anything that needs selling. So, if we can get our hands on anything liquid and move it to securer bank accounts.
Would perhaps the Reverend Mother and the Spy Master be able to assist us in this matter?
That's going to prove the question, because obviously they're still going to have some lasting loyalty to House Rachis.
Even after all this?
Who said anything about not being loyal to House Rachis? We're simply securing for the Countess's child until they come of age.
Yeah.
It will still be House Rachis, will it not?
You're a Bene Gesserit. You know how well that's going to go down.
Yeah. I think within the walls of this room, we can declare the end of House Rachis. But we'll have to be subtle and respectable and respectful of how we go about that.
Well, I live to serve, Baron. Tell me what needs to be done.
I think so. In the short term, we need to find and secure their assets. Maybe deal with the brother in a oh look, there's a flight of stairs kind of way.
It would be very useful if we knew some
He
spies.
should really come with you on this important mission to avenge his
revenge.
sister.
Yeah, he's definitely going to do that, even if he was planning on scarpering with the Emperor and the Sardaukar that are allowed to leave. But
Is the brother on world at the moment, I assume?
Yeah, he was in the
he
Emperor's
was with
party.
he was with the Imperial retinue.
Yes, of course he
so,
was, wasn't he?
So
Part hostage, part ally.
part living it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll ensure the brother is with us for all of the importantly dangerous missions, and mainly that he is with us and not anywhere out of sight for the remainder of our time here on Arrakis.
Important for continuity
Yeah,
of the house to have all the members together.
definitely now that House Rachis is clearly under attack. And obviously we have to guarantee the safety of the children. So we should definitely ensure there are people off-world taking care of that, because
The house is
I don't think
pretty
we've had a
safe
lot of
off-world as well.
yeah. And then we need to pinpoint these von Mir bastards and take them apart, and then interrogate those parts, and then take the rest of it apart, and then stomp that into the ground and turn it to ash.
Understood, Baron. Well, I'll get my security teams to start investigating immediately.
By your command.
A messenger from the palace will have arrived while you've been deliberating and be waiting on your attendance.
Okay. I'll bring him in to greet him, or her, or them.
My lord,
He quickly gets patted down, searched, and then has our finger thingy Bobby to see if he's done to him first.
the blue in blue of the eyes makes it harder for him to be a Gola, much harder to replicate. But yes, he's definitely Fremen.
Get the impression we're not going to share this technology with the Emperor.
It's not like he ever has a problem with Gola.
No. That's just.
It's fine. My lord, Muad'Dib, the Emperor sends a message. The last holdouts currently survive in Carthage, the city built by the Harkonnens. Muad'Dib the Emperor is reluctant to use atomics as they hold many of our people hostage. But there are secret ways into the city to those of us who know them. Muad'Dib says you may join us, as you will have a better knowledge of who is the head of the serpent. The Fedaykin will remove it.
Tell the gracious Emperor that we accept his offer and will gladly accompany him as guides.
No more than half a dozen of your best.
That shouldn't be a problem. If we have that many left. Cheese doesn't. I think, we'll form a strike team of mainly Dargush people and then a couple of Richies.
Well, I mean, there's the three of you, so that's half the squad.
Tentatively, Foom is there as well.
Yeah, so that's four. Take the old Richie spy master with you and maybe the brother, and you've got your half a dozen.
Yep.
But you still got to go and pick up the brother.
Oh, don't worry. We'll definitely pick up the brother. Actually, in that regard, Marshall, could you send an escort team to bring the brother to the Richie's compound?
I will lead it personally. She summons her security team and off she goes.
Diplomacy.
We'll write up a little letter that says, "Ooh, we're all in grave danger. You should probably be here."
Okay.
Tariq, what do you know about Carthage? You have an encyclopedic knowledge of stuff.
What do I know about Carthage?
The city of Carthage is one of two significant cities on Arrakis and the local home to House Harkonnen. It is located 200 kilometers northeast from Arrakeen across the Broken Land. As with Arrakeen, Carthage is located on the northern cap of the planet because it is more temperate than the emptiness and one of the only places that sandworms cannot reach. The surface of the planet is rocky here and features a few smaller mountain ranges.
Well,
I
he said,
figure, Mentats probably sound like travelogues.
Yeah. I was
It's a
hoping for
walled
more
city
detail.
on high rocky ground that is built almost entirely from prefab material.
Mm.
They built it last time they were in charge and then resettled it this time, although they still used the palace at Arakeen for the sort of public facing side of things. Most of the residents and the Colosseum and the spaceport was operated out of Carthage.
Okay. Now the difficult part is going to be because I sense the Fedaykin have a strong urge to sever snakeheads from bodies. We actually need 1 or 2 snakeheads intact. Ideas are welcome.
The likelihood is that any noble enemies you might be facing are likely to be holed up in the old Harkonnen residency.
Yeah. Seems fair. My main issue is how are we going to extract them before the Fremen stab the fuck out of them? There's...
You can tell them we need some alive.
Yeah.
For question.
we will need some alive, yes.
Yeah, the Fedaykin aren't bloodthirsty, mate. Oh wait,
Yeah, they are.
I mean,
well, no, they're not. They're not.
Perhaps
maniacs.
one of our
They
numbers
will
should...
have. They will take prisoners, won't they?
Yeah.
As long as old Muad'Dib has told them they should. If Muad'Dib has just gone,
Perhaps.
hey, spill
Well,
their water. Then...
Why don't you go with the Fedaykin?
Yes, I could do that. But, I mean, I think the idea is we should probably stay with the Fedaykin and attempt to reach the Von Meer heads of houses and various hangers-on and family members as quickly as possible.
Okay, Kaelin, then. On your little diplomatic mission to the former Imperial compound, which is, oh God, what's the name of the house? Yeah, Emperor's house. What's the line? Carino, of course. Wow, solid work there, me. Good job. Well, yeah, they do. The Emperor's still alive, and he's got 2 daughters at least. One of those daughters has a son. He's only a baby, but
I'm sure they'll all go on to do important things and not be forgotten.
the Carino compound is guarded by some very surly looking Sardaukar guards. While they're not carrying las pistols or las rifles anymore, they are wearing Sardaukar armor and are all trained hand-to-hand combatants. Gold, just everything gold. The compound, such as it is actually a landing ship as well. This thing could take off at any point. The only reason it hasn't done is because the guild won't transport anyone Paul tells them not to transport, and that would be really embarrassing. Flying from here up to space only to be told, yeah, but we're not taking you anywhere. You're just going to sit here on the Highliner.
Out.
Go land it. Well, I mean, Kaelin is approaching. She's been given an order by the Baron, so that's what she's here to execute.
And in fairness, you're on legitimate business for one of the houses of the Imperium.
And I am
Even the
decked up.
Sardaukar won't stop you.
I am decked up in my Dargush gear, so they know that I'm part of the house. So she makes her way through if they don't stop her.
Emissary, this is not a good time. Please state your business.
I'm here to speak with His Lordship from House Rachiz. I come from Baron of Dalen of House Dargush. And for my
Very
credential,
well.
I'm Kaelin Dargush, Deputy Marshal for our house.
You may enter.
Thank you. And she enters. But she signifies for her security team to remain there to help keep things diffused. And she makes her way inside.
Even they probably aren't in a great rush to go up against
Sardaukar, no.
Sardaukar.
They're basically a police force then. They're investigators, and like at a push they do decent security, but taking on Sardaukar might be a bit much.
Yeah, but the Sardaukar have to behave at the moment.
It's true, but Kaelin's not going to get herself dead or her people dead for no reason at this moment in time. They'll still manage to gut her and her team before the Vidaikon
Even if it's
charge.
funny?
Well, I mean, if it's funny, then not, you might, but...
We are looking for Edwin Rachiz. He's not got a noble title directly because the noble title passed to his sister. And from her, it will pass down to her eldest child by 2 minutes.
Kaelin will still show due reference, just to make him feel important.
But this is very much like being back in court. This is, you step inside the door and bam, you're not on Arrakis anymore. The temperature drops to tolerable levels. The air purity increases to vastly superior to what you're used to.
Kaelin will probably let out a little sigh of, oh.
If you've ever gone on holiday somewhere really, really hot and humid and then walked into an air-conditioned shop and just
yes,
that. And this place is sprawling with nobles and their guards. They're in their ridiculous outfits and their finery with their personal shields strapped to themselves. They'd have to be mad to use here, but it's a display of power, and so they're using it.
Well, Kaelin probably doesn't look out of place because she does have a personal shield as well and a very fine-looking blade on her hip, and she is wearing obviously the suits that we've been given are still suits because obviously she wants to survive in the thing, but she has it got dressed up with the House Dargush colours and whatnot, and she's making her way. She's looking for anyone, sort of any group that has the Rachiz colours.
There isn't really a group with the Rachiz colours on, no, but a servant will attend on you. May I help you, Mum?
I'm looking for Edwin Rachiz. I come from House Dargush.
Of course, the brother-in-law.
Indeed.
His Excellency is in his chambers. He's been feeling a little under the weather recently. Let me show you the way.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to use my passive scrutiny ability to ask one question of you, Ben.
Is he a murderous Gola?
No, I don't think I'm allowed to ask those kind of questions. No, I am. Is anyone following us?
You're probably the most interesting thing that's happened in 2 days.
I get probably people are looking, but
lots of people following with the eyes.
But is anyone
nobody
following?
Directly following? No.
Right, lovely. That's what she's looking out for.
And in fairness, that would actually be something of an opposed role. So, are people interested in you? Yes. Is someone following you? Let's find out. So you would need to do and
Observation?
understand or discipline. Yeah, you've got
Yeah, I've
observation,
just got
discipline,
observation.
observation. So
And then
discipline and
I'm going to push for justice because it's a part of my investigative skill. I'm looking for anything or duty.
um I'll take justice because it's am I being followed, which is kind of a criminal investigating thing.
That's what I'll do. I am using my focus. I get 2.
You can re-roll that 18 with your Pranabindu conditioning.
Oh yes, of course I can. Because I says, oh yeah, I forgot my. Oh yeah, how do I reroll it? Should I just roll another d20?
Just roll another d20, yeah.
That's a 3.
Oh, okay. So that's
Is that another success? No, because I'm using
that's
my
another
focus.
crit.
That's another crit.
Is it
Take it. That's 4
That's
successes.
like 4 successes. Damn, that's going to be hard to beat. I should have just told you. Yeah, you've been followed. You know what? I'm going to do that. Oh no, that's d6s. I was going to say that's a damn good roll.
That's a
Would have
very.
been, like,
It's not far off.
No, it's still done a good roll.
you kept the first 2.
2, 3. You do still beat it by 1 success. So yes, there is someone shadowing you at a distance. And based on the grouping and the colors that they're wearing, you would say that they are a member of House Taisheng, a minor house who are rivals of the Dargush, and a part of the whole Von Meer Alliance of Evil
Lovely.
collective.
I am going to close the
Yeah,
gap
the
on.
Carnley ones.
I'm going to close the gap on the servant, and say, I believe I'm being followed. Be a good chap and guide me to somewhere that's slightly darker of corner around a bend. I'm going to have them sort of like as we go round towards. I'm guessing he's in a stateroom, so we come off of the main chamber and go down a corridor. I'm going to have them duck us off into like a little room, to the side. I'm going to wait for them to pass. I don't know what role I'll need to pull that off and do it well.
Well, no, you beat them on the followee thing. So, I think in fairness, you nipping into a side door and being able to reach out and grab them works if that's what you want to do. Are you planning on evading or do you want to
No,
catch?
I'm planning on as they pass, blading back, pulling them into a.
You have baronal permission for stabbing.
Got to ask some questions first.
Technically, you're in Carino territory right now, but oh no, you've got Canley against Von Beer, so it would be in bad form to actively murderize this person.
Yes, that's why I'm going to ask questions first. So we're pulling. So basically, as they pass, it's going to be sort of back of the collar, blading back, and then pull them into the side room that I ducked into.
Okay, now that will definitely require another roll.
Go for it.
And it's pretty much got to be battle.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do battle.
Momentum or bayonet.
What are we doing? Am I doing duty because it's part of our Canley? Or I believe it could be part of our Canley.
Yeah, okay.
And my thing is, my statement is, I will do what needs to be done to see my house prosper.
Do you want to spend your determination?
I haven't had my determination back yet, so I spent it a little while back. So I will do duty. I will spend a momentum point, please, for an extra dice.
God, the momentum's moving well slow today.
I'm not using Am I using my long blade? I am. I've got my blade in his back. Does it count as being?
That's more of a short blade, really. The long
Yeah.
blade is more of that's your sword.
Yeah, you're probably right. I'm not
It's
using my.
much harder
But
to
that would be
grab
really hard.
someone
Yeah,
whilst
but
holding a sword in their back.
It's true. Okay, I'm not using my long blade. I'm using a short
I mean,
blade.
if you
That's
want to
fine.
step out and wrap it round their throat, that's a different story.
Yeah, that might be a bit obvious for anyone else that's in the hallway. I'm trying to keep it very
That is true.
surreptitious. So, no, I'm not
Okay.
using focus. I got one success.
Hmm.
Oh dear.
I mean, I could spend 2 momentum to bolster you, but I'm not there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I doubt you can.
Just the idea of Dela being very upset by your lack of stabbing should bolster you.
In fairness, I should have set them as a leveled opponent rather than be rolling against you, to be honest, but it's the quicker way of doing it. So, yes, the insufficient successes to successfully pull that off. You get a handful of cloak, and they're off down the corridor at speed, disappearing into a crowd of courtiers.
I won't give chase. I think I've suitably scared them at this point, and my job was to get Edwin Rachis back. So I just asked the servant to continue taking me to the Rachis. Maybe at a slightly faster pace now, however, because they might know why I'm here now. And she's probably doubly on alert now.
As you wish.
Sorry.
As I understand, you are engaged in the War of Assassins with House von Meer at the moment.
That is indeed correct.
The assailant you have just encountered is of House Taisheng and allied with them.
Yes.
But having failed in this attempt, there should be no others coming from that direction. The rules of the Landsraad are very clear in a War of Assassins.
Yes, and however, I believe some of the rules have not already been followed on this engagement, so I won't, how they say, count my eggs before they hatch.
I shall see you to the Rachis rooms at once, milady. I should pre-advise you that the Countess's brother has been in poor health recently.
Oh, how unusual. He seemed in good health at the palace only a few days ago.
Here we are, milady.
Thank you very much.
There is a little Rachis badge next to the door.
Would you announce my entry, please?
Of course. Bing, 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 bing. My lord Rachis, a delegate from House Dargush is here to speak with you, sir. Dargush, Zadela. It is his representative, sir. All right, send him in. Yeah, the door slides open and
Ill.
the yes, the scent of his illness hits you like a truck because it's about 60 proof.
It's self-inflicted illness.
The quarters are large, airy, well appointed, but very poorly lit and messy. Sorry for the mess. I haven't let any of the staff in. Pull up a chair. You're not Dela.
I'm not Dela. I am his niece.
Sister?
Once removed.
Niece. Yeah, you look
Once
too
removed.
young.
Deputy Marshal, and I'm here on his behalf.
Don't even warrant full marshal anymore. No, your marshal fella's the honorary captain guy. Sorry, yeah, he means you're the marshal effectively. I get it. What does Taylor want from me? He's already got everything he can out of our family.
He wishes for your safety, and I hand him over the letter. And also, you haven't been to your sister's coffin as of yet, so I'm here to escort you down.
Coffin? she was alive.
Then I must also then be the bearer of bad news. Unfortunately, she, as far as we believe it's her. She has passed in a Vomir scheme to
What
take
do you
out
mean,
half.
as far as we're aware? Is
It'll
it
be,
her or is it not her?
by all accounts, it is her. However, the Vomir have been cloning her in Gola form, your lordship, and so we cannot be fully convinced there, but we are fairly certain it's her body.
Body.
Yes. So I'm here to escort you down there.
She couldn't even bring her back alive. Well, I'm in no state to come and visit now.
I appreciate your current state, lordship. Perhaps some. And she looks around to see if there's any non-alcoholic beverages in the room. And then she takes like a water pack out of her pack. And perhaps, your lordship, it would be advisable to maybe see to your health.
Yeah, I've been ill.
So I've been told. But a walk through the streets may do you some wonders, and it would be proper for you to come and say farewell to your sister as well. And more
I don't
importantly,
want any
also,
of this. You know that, right?
I am duly aware. But
I'm just a diplomat. I go out there and I put the face about and I shake the hands and I do the stuff. But I don't want to be a count.
and nor are you being asked to be a count, but you are needed for your house and your family now.
They haven't brought the kids here, have they?
I do not believe we've brought the kids here. That would be, I believe, at this point in time, foolish given everything that's going on.
Yeah, yeah. All right, let me get cleaned up and I'll.
Absolutely, your lordship. I shall wait outside for you. Take your time, whatever time you need.
Actually, if that servant guy's out there, you better send him in.
Understand. If you need me for anything else, please do not hesitate to ask.
Yeah,
goes out.
yeah. Thank you.
Turns on a penny and sort of marches out because the stink is probably awful. And she goes outside, and you'll be needed now. If you could help get his health in better order and get him dressed and ready.
I've ordered a number of restoratives to be delivered as promptly as possible.
I thank you for your assistance. I will remain outside the room on guard until he's ready to leave.
In fairly short order, the combination of a sook doctor and a waiter with a tray of food and coffee will show up. Which is going to be the most effective? We're still not 100% sure. But after about an hour of standing around and waiting, Edwin Richis will step out, still bleary-eyed and a little bit poorly shaven, but he's wearing clean clothes and he's upright and can speak and string a sentence.
Your lordship cuts a fine figure. It's good to see you back on your feet.
Don't patronize me. I know I look like shit.
Yes, you do, but you look a million times better than you did an hour ago, your lordship.
All right, let's go. Do it. Am I supposed to bring in a thing?
No. House
I
Dargush is taking
don't
care of
get
everything.
sent to this kind of thing usually. Parties and meetings, and you take gifts for that. But
I think your presence will be enough.
all right, yeah.
Knives will be provided.
And she will escort him out of the building, hopefully without incident, and to where her guard are still standing outside.
He probably does have 2 Richis guards assigned to him as well, so they all come along. But while they're doing that, what are Dayla and Tarek going to get up to?
First off, Dayla and Tarek and as much of the Dargush guard as we can manage.
As we've got left, yeah.
Have had a little retailoring as well. Their clothes are a little bit more of a mixture of cuts between Richis and Dargush.
Just a hint more blue than you used to have.
Yeah. And
It's
Dayla
an
will stare
homage,
down
obviously.
anyone who looks like they're going to say anything about it. But we are going to attempt to get the rest of House Rachis on side.
Okay.
Effectively, pretty much taking over in the short term.
All right. Well, when it comes to House Rachis, there's the big two. Fortunately, Countess Albana kept everything quite close to the chest.
Mm. Yeah.
Reverend Mother Cora Arlana.
Yep.
Her principal advisor was blinded by the destruction of the moon Corona. Very, very old, exceptional hearing, and Penelope Jacks, a young mentat. They are the big two.
Mm-hmm.
The other minor houses of the Rachis will all be jockeying for various power, prestige, and importance, but they're not here.
Yeah. And they also haven't been leading an investigation into the disappearance and death of the Countess. So I think we have the jump on them. Dayla is going to initially try and shore up the members of the Rachis Guard that survived and came back.
Yeah, because the
So
other
that
two
we
have kind of left them
Yeah. So
out of
that
the
we
loop.
have
They're so consumed
them
with their
on
own
side.
stuff. But the
Isn't-
guards, the Rachis guards that you brought back, they're probably going to be fairly easy to get on side.
And give them a sense of purpose in the times to come.
Do me a communicate and duty then.
Okay. That's not too
Or
bad.
communicate and power.
I'll go with
Listen, let's-
communicating duty. I may try and charm them a bit if I can.
Charm.
Yeah.
Shall we add some momentum to that, or just go with it straight? Kind of don't want to waste momentum on this.
Don't waste the momentum because I'm going to give you a lower difficulty than I usually
Okay.
would because you kept them alive on mission.
Just
So
about.
it would normally be sort of a difficulty 2 because they're a tier above you in terms of house importance, but they've seen you and your people work and they have a degree of respect for you that they maybe didn't have before the mission.
There we go then.
1 success is all you needed. So the guard see what you've done. They appreciate your work. And they've gone grim-faced, implacable, determined.
Yeah. We'll let them stand guard over the Countess for a
The
bit
captain in
longer as
charge is
well. Drive home that purpose.
less helpful. So putting him in direct charge of her honor guard kind of maneuvers him out of a position where he can do anything and lets you work directly with one of his sergeants who
Yeah.
was there on mission and knows what Dargush are capable of. So the rank and file, they're on side. The captain himself, while he's not directly on side, is also not going to be an impediment to you.
That's what we want. How many other Rachis staff and personnel are there?
Not very many, because this was supposed to be a brief jaunt. This was a come down to the planet, boss a bunch of troops around, or come down to the planet. I mean, a lot of the Rachis stuff is naval forces, so they're in
so
orbit,
they're all up,
ready to
upstairs waiting about.
do Navy stuff, which in this
I mean-
context is mostly going to be sort of space battles, of which there won't be any because It's not like the Fremen have got an extensive military fleet yet.
And we've already basically sided with them, so now we know why the Rachis didn't intercept Fremen ships.
So
In
down
that
here,
case,
you've got the honor guard and the command team.
Yeah, I think we need to work on the command team now. Together with Tariq, Dayla will try and separate them out a bit initially as well. And I think, was it Penelope?
Penelope is the Mentat.
It's probably going to be the easiest to convince, because well, the Bene Gesserit will always have.
She's a
their own
Mentat
things
and
to
can do the maths.
Yeah. So I'll let Tariq also Mentat to Mentat that one.
I don't really think they have much of a choice, to be honest with you.
But
I
you
mean, it's
can
the
provide the
illusion of
maths.
choice.
Yeah, you can provide nice maths that makes it seem
It
like
is
this
only
is a
the logical.
good choice, rather than the only choice.
Okay, so Tarek, in conference with Penelope Jax, your opposite number in House Rachis. She's the spy master for Countess Silbana.
I'll be giving her a very logical and mathematically sound reason for this, and mostly around their future fortune and monies, and how really there's not really much of a choice in the circumstances, otherwise they're going to perish, and this is the logic why.
I like it. Shall we appeal to their emotions? No, F that. Let's appeal to the maths.
Yeah, and the money.
All right, I think that's discipline and duty then.
Discipline. Oh no. Not too bad. Duty.
This might be a good spot to. Oh, never mind.
Oh.
Doesn't matter. Okay, so that is a success. Straight out the gate, and she will look at the numbers effectively. So, regardless of personal opinion in this place at this time, it is clear that Edwin is in no position to rise to head of house, and indeed the heir is currently too young to manage. It makes sense for Baron Dargush to step in as regent in the short term. He has the experience necessary, and while I am happy to serve and advise, I fear that the Reverend Mother may be in no situation where she will be able to provide much help. She rather doted on the Countess greatly. If he is able to bring about vengeance for this crime that has been perpetrated upon her, the Reverend Mother will retire from her post. She is an old lady after all, and has little left for which to stay around, shall we say. The issue you will have is that should she request replacement from the sisterhood, then an unknown quantity will be introduced. For now, it is best to leave her where she is. She is an incisive woman and not one to treat lightly. but I accept the command of Dale Dargush in the interim until such time as he demonstrates a reason not to. So Tarek with the maths coming in clutch there. Anything you want to add, Dan?
I'm probably still coming back with the brother.
Well, he should have specified a Dan.
No, I think there's nothing else I want to add.
Ah, mentats. Do this thing. It makes sense. Okay. Thank you for this
Exactly.
conversation.
Thank you for the efficiency of your calculations. I think then we will attempt to do the fun Bene Gesserit thing of moving on the Bene Gesserit sideways. I don't think we want to convince her, hey, Dayla's in charge now, you should. But if she is never really around when any decision making is happening, she won't know and it won't hurt her. And if we can convince her to spend a lot more time around dealing with the whole issue of the fact that we have the corpse of the Countess Rachis, and things need to happen there to ensure the proper whatever.
Her instinct is to not leave the side of the Countess again.
And that is perfect.
Since
That's
last time she did, she was
where we want
kidnapped.
her. Yeah. Dayla then will just kind of thank her for being willing to watch over his deceased wife in this time. And try to keep the conversation as short as possible, because getting it wrapped up in a conversation with Bene Gesserit is not his favourite thing to do. Something always goes wrong.
Okay. Give me a communicate and
Oh, that's definitely my best skill.
I think justice, you know.
Yeah, that's a combination.
Well, what would you rather try and do?
Faith, maybe? It's not my
Okay.
highest, but
Okay, I could see how faith could work.
yeah. But it feels more like, yeah.
If you're going with faith,
it's
then
appealing.
discipline makes more sense than communicate.
I will gladly accept that. my charm would have no effect on a Bene Gesserit anyway.
This isn't a charming moment. No, this is a. There will be blood for this.
So discipline and faith. Should I spend an extra dice? This is my chances are low. I'm gonna add one. We're heavy on the one successes tonight. Not building any momentum whatsoever.
This is your fault, you know. Ilbana married under her station. Not that that's your fault. That's not your fault. That's Shaddam's damn fault. She had to marry below her station because of that pompous prig. But if she hadn't married you, you'd have married Von Meer, and none of this would have started. The whole relationship would have never soured. Things would have gone along just how they're supposed to go along.
Well,
You and the Von Meer's child could have been wedded into Jungler or Taisheng and solidified that whole side of the line. And instead, she had to go and Go for a vanity pick with some flash in the pan, rich boy.
Tell it like it is, why don't you?
Yeah. That's that beat me to it, the whole telling it like it's fun.
It's not too late for you to redeem yourself on this, boy.
Oh, don't worry. I have every intention of redeeming myself.
I'm old and I'm going to die soon, and I know it.
It's good to have things to look forward
I should
to,
not
I
have
suppose.
outlived Ilbana. I was a teacher when she was a child, you know. Practically raised her myself.
Well, she certainly spoke highly of you. But
Your charms aren't going to work here, boy. I don't want charm, I want blood.
fortunately, that is more my specialty than charmes. Moving around court may be all I have had to do of late, but I still know how to fight a war. And this will be one we win.
You studied at Guinness, didn't you?
Many years ago now, yes.
So you know about the swearing of oaths. Swear me an oath. Swear me an old oath. Make me believe you.
He will slice across his... This, by the way, is my Guinness blade. Because it's green and gold, like us. He'll cut across his hand and swear an oath of vengeance against Von Meer until the last of their house has been driven so far beyond the Landsrad that there is no way they could ever possibly return.
How much momentum are you going to invest in that?
What have we got left? 2?
Since this is a binding promise that you're making.
Oh, I love a good binding promise. I haven't had a chance to use that yet. I am going to invest both in that.
A wise decision.
Don't worry about the Von Meer. Any that are left to flee will be so unimportant that they wouldn't know how to find a house to help them if they looked for it. The rest, as the Fremen say, will give to the desert.
Watch out for Sheila Von Meer. You've not seen her since you were 8, 9 years old. And since that whole business with the betrothal going south, she's changed.
I fear we may have some information in that regard as well. I will heed your warning.
Only a fool ignores the warnings of the Bene Gesserit, and you are no fool, although you play the part quite well. There you go.
I have to
Proper
keep
Bene
up.
Gesserit compliment, the most
Yeah.
backhanded of compliments imaginable. In that
I
it's a
mean-
compliment, but it feels like you've been backhanded.
It is very much Dala's wheelhouse, though. Oh, look at him foppishly running around and then lasering people. That's, yeah.
Look at that pointless fop. Wait, how is he one of the richest minor houses in the Landsrad? When did that happen?
Just fell into our hands. Sometimes things just work out. No, yeah.
Leave me now. Return to me when this is done.
Don't worry, you'll be the first to know. And he'll sheath his dagger and turn around and leave.
Okie dokie, so we've sworn vengeance.
Yeah. Now it's a proper carny.
Excuse me.
The only thing I think, well, there's more things, but one of the things Dela would definitely like to do after that is also contact the Kiwa and convince them to give us some fresh blades specifically for this mission. Knowing that they should hopefully feel honor bound to give us the fucking best ones they have.
Do you want them in dagger form or spear form?
Well, I'll stick to my dueling blades, but I don't know what the rest have. I think
Probably best to stick with dueling blades if they're not familiar. Kiwa soldiers can fight with spears, but unless you've been trained by one, which they might have done, because oh no, all of your troops do qualify as having a dagger and spear focus because your sword master is a Kiwa.
Awesome.
So yeah, you
In
can
that
decide
case,
whether your men get spears or daggers.
I like the idea of spears.
Yeah, I like that idea as well. Are they long spears? Are they short spears?
Short spears.
Perfect. That's we will take the spears, please. Games master.
Yes. Coincidentally enough, they have a whole bunch of about a dozen spears, all etched with the Dargush insignia and enameled in the right colors, shiny silver blades with perfect blood channels cut in them. It's almost like they were going to give these to you anyway.
Yeah. Dela will personally receive them and play about with the weight, swing it about a bit, practice a little bit, and tell them how wonderful they are and how much he thanks them for the gift.
They know how good they are.
Yeah. But they, I'm sure they like to hear it occasionally.
Yeah.
We'll come back.
And actually,
with
coming from a
many
Ginaz
tales.
master,
Yeah.
being told that their blades are just as good as a Ginaz blade counts for a lot, because that's kind of their level of, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
They are to blades what you are to lenses.
That's why we love them.
By this point, Kaelin will have returned through the streets of Arakeen with your brother-in-law, Edwin Rachis, who's quite pale, bleary-eyed looking, a little bit unshaven. He's clearly been mourning.
Hello, Edwin.
Taylor.
Are you up for this?
Your niece up. I just come to see my sister. Your niece said that you couldn't be sure it was her. Presumably you've seen more of her than I have in the last few years.
Yes, but she was missing a face.
Menta, I hadn't mentioned.
That is why we were unable to identify her correctly.
Taylor is also just holding two spears at the time as well. And he is going to put one.
That's perfect timing, actually, because that's exactly the kind of thing that would make him go, they took her face. And then as a spear gets pushed into his hand, he won't just be like, oh God, no.
Don't make me regret this, Edwin.
I can make you no promises, dear brother-in-law, but she is my sister, and while I am no warrior, it is my house's honor that is being impugned. I will aid you if I can.
Well, that's good, because we're leaving soon.
Leaving for where?
Carthag.
The Harkonnen resort.
It's also the last bastion of Harkonnen resistance on the planet. And there happen to be a few Vonmir there that we would like a word with.
And what, we too are to storm the gate?
We two, these two, another two, and will be accompanying the Imperial Party storming the gates.
The Sardaukar?
No, the Imperial Party.
The Fremen?
Well,
Well,
the very same.
you and your house have always had a way with them.
Let's hope that holds up.
Very well, I shall follow your lead.
Good man.
My Lord Edwin, geez, might I suggest some more restoratives before we leave?
Just bring an entire bag full.
Honestly,
Keep giving
maybe
him
that
coffee.
might be a bad idea.
The doctor's
We'll get mapped up.
given me a few things to assist in that regard. But they're more of a topical consideration. Best not to use too early.
Well, keep them on hand then.
Do not take the combat drugs before we leave for the mission.
Yeah.
Halen sort of looks towards the Baron and kind of nods for a quick chat.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think we're going to have a team huddle anyway before we leave.
Well, she's going to have a quick... Baron, someone...
Leave Edwin standing there holding a spear
Out,
that he's
definitely,
probably...
definitely way out of earshot of Edwin.
Well, he's got to sit with his sister and
Yeah.
apologise for being a bit shit.
Yeah. Someone from House Taishan attempted on me while I was retrieving Edwin. I obviously managed to avoid it because I'm still here.
And what happened to the operative?
Unfortunately, they made their way into a crowd of courtiers, and I thought it was best that House Dargush wasn't seen running around stabbing people in public. I did try to remove them to a side room, but they were a bit quick on their feet. They were prepared for me. They were following me.
You did get a cloak, though. So
Yeah, cloak. And I gave him the cloak. Also, on our earlier conversations, he doesn't want to be Count. He doesn't want to be anywhere near. Perhaps you should marry him off to some minor Dargush woman, and he can live out his days serving his house or his new house. The case
be careful. If I was you, you're a minor Dargush woman.
I mean, she will do what's necessary for her family, but
Dela raises an eyebrow, and but then goes, maybe we have a few other allies that we could cement into this.
I'm here to serve you, Baron. So whatever you need of me, but I don't necessarily feel that his death will be as beneficial as potentially someone to legitimize your...
Marry him off to Gretchen Gunnarooks.
I was thinking Gunnaruk or... But in any event...
Edwin! Fetch me the thing! Just do
it! Taylor likes that idea. But yeah, no, I think this will mainly be an opportunity for him to be part of his
equally, you could marry him off to the
Revenge.
Amora, and he can go and live in a farming world and talk about
Yeah.
philosophy with chill old men while being
Sounds
married to someone who will smile at him nicely from time to time.
sounds exactly like what he would love to do with the rest of his life. Yeah.
All the more reason to marry Gretchen Gunnarooks.
Yep, precisely.
Obviously, Kaelin provides no advice on
Never a dull
who
day.
he should marry, but simply suggests that actually he could help legitimize the regency if he's seen, shaking hands, doing the old, oh yes, yeah.
I think if he survives, we'll slate him for a diplomatic spot in the
Diplomacy definitely seems like his field of expertise, or at least when he's not drinking.
in what will become House Dargush Richies.
Understood, Baron.
I think
Star cheese.
Darties.
I was thinking more ragouche.
Yeah. That sounds like it's a
dish.
that we're
Dar cheese ragouche. If you haven't tried it, it's wonderful.
Yeah. We know what the celebratory meals will be for the official renaming. I think now we want to gather up as much information as we can about where we're going into, and maybe also, do we have on hand who the big targets are? Like, I've been warned about one, but who else remains of House von Meer?
I imagine we all look at our mentat.
Yeah.
Who, me?
Moi.
Who else do I think is on the list?
Okay, now the Von Meers have very much fallen out of favour recently and have been very much having to grub for favour with some of the nastier side of the court. So their friends are generally not nice people. But let's have an understand and
Oh, stop making me
power,
roll
I think.
understand. Stop making me roll understand. Hold
But
on.
understand is the thing you're best at.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, this. Sorry. I thought. Yeah, no. Communicate. Sorry. Understand what? Sorry.
Understand and power, because we're looking at
Okay,
power
that's
structures here.
Go Mentat brain.
Do I have a drive? No drive. I've got dice 2. Do I have a focus for this one?
Data analysis.
Yeah.
Not really.
No. Okay.
This is more of a genealogy or
Oh.
Huh?
Okay.
2
Again,
successes good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again with the because I got a 19 and a 1 before. Now I've got a 2 and a
Also
20.
got a complication, but
Now what can you do?
So, well, there is the Magravine Sheila Dargush, the current heir of the house, not heir of the house, the current head of house. By all accounts, a talented biochemist in her
Oh.
youth. Promising student, studied with the Bene Tlilax, and not with the Bene Gesserit, which was a little bit of a snub there. Technologists, geneticists, it seems like she never married, has no children of her own. There are rumors of a daughter, an illegitimate daughter, but these have never been confirmed.
You can marry her to the brother-in-law.
I think she has other ideas.
That would kind of put the brother-in-law and her ahead of the Dargushes for
Yeah, but
they're a former Richies follower house, so
It's Dargush Richies.
We know that
For a
she
couple of
has
generations,
a
there's just
close collaboration with Jongler and Taisheng houses, and was actively courting the Harkonnens in their rise to power. But the exact nature of the connections between the three of them is less well known. Originally, we had believed that they were all simply client houses of the Harkonnens, but it seems that they've formed a little working group to offset the working group that the Dargushes set up with some of the other houses.
everyone's always jealous.
And their
Copying our
working group
ideas.
consists of spies, assassins, and biotechnology assisted poisons and
Murder golas.
murder-golers. Well, the murder-golers are fairly new. Prior to that, it was tailored poisons, diseases.
I mean, but once you've got murder golas,
Yeah.
it's kind of going to be your thing, isn't it?
Their murder-golers have come a long way.
Yeah. They may go a long way yet.
Well, the first ones you encountered were big, hulking, brute-like creatures that were more elephant gorilla, whereas the newer ones are much more spy-focused. It's clearly a scale thing. You start off big and you miniaturize your technology.
Wonder if they could make like a Guinness sword master kind of gola in some way. Nah.
What would you even call something like that?
No.
Like
Conspiracy.
Callum, Oklahoma or something.
Yeah. It'd have to be something silly like that. I mean.
So this is the situation as we see it, my lord.
Okay.
Bless Alaska.
Mhm. In that case, I think head of house is obviously the priority. What would we have time to delve into the illegitimate daughter part? You always want some extra card up your sleeve.
Do I know much about the illegitimate daughter?
Nobody does. I mean, she's partly a rumor. The fact that the rumor exists suggests that there is at least some strength behind it.
Yeah.
And legitimacy is not particularly a problem when it comes to inheritance.
It would take me some time to gather the information needed. I'm not sure that we're
Okay.
working to that timescale.
Especially
Well,
not while you're stuck on Arrakis. If you had
Yeah.
access to the Bene Gesserit, to the records on Kaitane, genealogical histories, but you're on Arrakis, what you've got is sand, giant worms, and mind-altering spice drugs.
all of that sounds very useful, but not immediately for this. In that case, we'll put a pin in it for now, and keep it as a project for a later date.
Not the worm. Don't put a pin in the worm. They don't like that.
I hear it makes it easier to ride them.
Yeah, they rotate so that the bit with the pin in is
But
facing up.
Yeah. As long as you stay on that bit, you're all right.
Yeah.
It's the getting off part that I think is probably hairy. Yeah. I think then we'll start prepping for our assault mission. By which point I want us to have full on like mixed Dargush Rachis uniforms.
Okay. So what prep do you want to set up?
Do we need any assets going in, do we think?
Antitoxins.
That's a good idea.
Antitoxins I have, I believe.
So yeah, that'd be something to take with us. The Fremen obviously aren't going to be using shields, but we are beyond being eaten by a giant
If you're in the
angry
mountains, you're
worm.
not going to be eaten by worms, so shields
So
aren't a
we
terrible plan.
We'll probably take our shields with us as well. Yeah. Do a bit of old school Dargush fighting rather than this newfangled desert fighting that Daedra doesn't understand. In my day, we all had shields. Las guns, that was the big problem.
Yes.
And miniature nuclear explosions.
Don't shoot the
but-
shield with the lasgun.
Yeah. Stabbing people slowly and whatnot. So, antitoxins. Anything else anyone wants?
Kaylin will express her nervousness at only taking such a small party. While she trusts Foom, she still doesn't really fully trust Fremen. That not that she doesn't trust them, it's that they don't have House Dargush's best interest at heart.
Do we want to set up a Gunaruk extraction team?
Yes.
Absolutely. And might I
As
suggest
in
that
a fleet of ornithopters to come and save us if we need them?
and I wonder if Foom could dress some more of our guard to look more like the Viking, so that we might sneak maybe a few more assets on with us. I don't wish to insult the Fremen, but I'm concerned that we are going with such a small party.
Or could we get Foom to approach Siege Abacat and maybe provide some Fremen backup? I know that Kaylin isn't necessarily.
She trusts Foom.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, it's not
And
that she doesn't trust the Fremen.
trusts Siege Abacat in as far as he trusts anyone. And it would be nice to have some extra troops on hand.
That's definitely something that we can get Aldun to look at the start of next session. Then is making sure that the Fremen that we are going with are Abacat Fremen.
Yeah.
That way, it's his cousins and second cousins and third cousins. And
so we have awesome spears, antitoxins. We'll talk to the Gunnaruks about a extraction team of ornithopters that could pick us up if things get hairy. We'll get Odun, Foom to bring in some Abacat Fremen.
Okay.
Don't think there's much else we could really pull out of the bag at this point, unless we can find a miniature nuke.
It doesn't have to be a
got a
nuke.
lasgun, got a shield.
Yeah, true.
Do we not also now have command of the Rachis Navy in orbit?
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but the new Emperor might be a little bit upset if I start ordering the Rachis Navy to blast things on the surface of Arrakis.
Yeah, no Space and Gilder in his pocket now.
Yeah, he did kind of. The messenger from the Emperor did kind of say, "We'll let you sneak in and kill the high ups, but we'd rather not
let you be
wipe out the entire city because most of it is full of forced labor by Fremen.
Precisely.
You cause enough trouble for the high ups, the people in the city will rise up."
Okay. Yeah.
Very well. Then next week we shall do the attack on Carthage. Dun dun dun.
Where we all die.
Cool, where did you get them from?
Taking names.
Oh yeah, because I'm never near any form.
Oh yeah, fair point.
Yeah. His Lewis Cave is full of bladed objects. Bladed
Yeah.
objects and whiskey, a perfect combination.
I keep them separate.
Smart.
Yeah.
You hear that, Scotland?
Bladed objects upstairs, whiskey downstairs.
Very well then. So we shall wrap there for today. Um,
Great.
since we kind of stormed through the get Edwin Rachis on side and bully the rest of the house
Of the
into
house.
doing what we want.
Yeah.
Next week we will attack Carthage with a small group of specialists and freedom fighters
And a diplomat.
and a diplomat on a string.
Yeah.
And then that may be our last session of the current series. We might stretch to 2, depending on how long Carthage takes us. Because obviously you need to have your yub nub moment as well, assuming you survive.
Yeah.
And if you don't have your yub nub moment, then
It's because we didn't survive.
it's because you didn't survive, and maybe then you have to play like a bunch of 9-year-olds back on the Richie's homeworld going, what the hell, man?
I'm pretty sure Dayla's children would just kind of sit down in the front and be like, "We're in charge now."
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I thought.
Taylor didn't want to be in charge for the longest time. At least that
No.
was what he told all of his brothers who did want to be in charge until they were out of the way. Then suddenly he
somehow
was
became
Grandma's
in
fave.
charge. Yeah. And the Dargush house under burgeoning Baron Dayla didn't really have that much ambition until they suddenly formed a mini Landsrad down here. So,
And married into a major house.
Yeah. Who were on the outs with the imperial
Yeah.
family, you know, they just had a bit of a problem themselves. One of their moons got bombed.
yeah. Most of their army died.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Garblag Games this evening. We shall see you again next week. And then I'm sure Pete will be along shortly to inform you as to what will be coming in play to follow up after we have duned. In the meantime, don't forget to click all the buttons, come join us over on Discord and do all the stuff. And then we will chat to you there and catch you next time for Dune Canley, Book 3 of House Dargush Saga. Farewell.
Are
And
we
good
going to get
night.
up to chapter house, do you reckon? Or
That way, madness lies.
yeah.
Good night.